My name is Emma, and this is my story. A story of love, mistakes, and hope. When I was a child, I was very quiet. I didn't talk much, and I didn't have many friends. My parents were extremely strict. They believed that children should not play too much, should not have many friends, and should not waste time on hobbies. No playing, no friends, no hobbies, they used to say. Most days, I stayed inside the house, watching the world from behind the windows. I wanted to run outside, laugh with other children, and feel the warmth of friendship, but my parents always stopped me. Stay inside, they said, and I obeyed. I didn't even go to kindergarten. So when I finally started school, I was terrified. I remember sitting on my bed the night before my first day, asking myself again and again, how will I talk to other kids? What if they don't like me? What if I say something wrong? I felt small and nervous, but slowly I began to make a few friends. Even then, I stayed quiet. I kept telling myself, be quiet. Be safe. Don't attract attention. I loved drawing. Colors made me feel alive in a way nothing else did. I wanted to join art classes and sports, to explore the things that made my heart beat faster. But when I told my parents, they refused immediately. Focus on your studies, they said. Art is not important. Dreams won't feed you. So I gave up those wishes and buried them somewhere deep inside me. After school, I went to college. That was when I met Ryan. Ryan was tall, funny, and charming. He had a way of making people laugh, and when he smiled at me, I felt something I had never felt before. He told me, "You are so beautiful," and for the first time in my life, I felt truly special. When I was with him, I felt seen. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. One day he said, "You are my best friend," and my heart melted. I still wanted to study and get a good job, to build a future of my own. But Ryan didn't like that idea. "Why do you need a degree?" he asked. "You can just marry me." I was only 18 years old. I was young, emotional, and deeply in love. I believed that Ryan would take care of me. When he asked me to marry him and said, "Let's start a family," I didn't hesitate. I stopped going to college. I gave up my dreams. I told myself that love was more important than school. At first, everything was beautiful. We were happy. Soon, we had a daughter. Her name was Lily. She was small, soft, and sweet, and when I held her in my arms, I felt like my life finally had meaning. But slowly, things began to change. Ryan started telling me what I could and couldn't wear. "You can't wear those clothes," he said. He didn't like my tattoos or my short hair. "Change your style," he demanded. Little by little, I stopped meeting my friends because Ryan didn't like them. "You don't need them," he said. "Stay home with Lily." So I stayed home, alone with my child and my thoughts. Ryan began coming home late. When I asked him where he had been, he always said, "I was with my friends." I felt lonely, invisible, like a shadow in my own house. I wanted to talk to him, to share my feelings, but he never listened. One night, he got angry. His voice was loud and sharp. "You are not a good wife," he shouted. I cried silently, my heart breaking in ways I didn't know were possible. One day, Ryan hit me. I still remember that moment clearly, the shock, the fear, the disbelief. I cried all night, staring at the ceiling, wondering how the man I loved could hurt me like that. I wanted to leave him, but I was scared. I had nowhere to go. Finally, I went to my parents and begged them for help. "Please," I said, "I can't live like this." But they looked at me coldly and said, "You are married. Stay with your husband." So I went back to Ryan. I told myself that things would get better. I tried to believe in hope again. Later, I got pregnant for the second time. This time, I had a son. His name was Jake. He looked just like me, and when I saw his face for the first time, I felt a love so strong it almost hurt. Ryan didn't even come to the hospital. When I finally came home with the baby, he looked at me and said, "Why are you here so soon?" His words cut deep into my heart. Then I found out the truth. Ryan had a girlfriend. He didn't even try to hide it. One day he said to me, "She loves me more than you." In that moment, I felt small, useless, and unimportant. I wanted to leave him, but I didn't know how. I had no money, no support, and 2 children to take care of. One day, Ryan joined the army. He left me alone with the kids and said, "You can manage." After he left, I cried every day. Life became heavier and lonelier. During that time, my father died. Soon after, my mother moved to another country. Suddenly, I was completely alone in the world, with 2 children and a broken heart. Ryan called me from the army one day. His voice sounded distant and cold. I found someone new, he said. I couldn't believe it. Why? I asked, my hands shaking. I am happier with her, he replied. 3 months later, he called again. I made a mistake, he said. Please take me back. Even after everything he had done, I still loved him. So I said yes. We tried to fix our marriage. I wanted to believe that love could heal everything. But Ryan didn't really change. He stopped hitting me, but his words still hurt. They were sharp, careless, and cruel. Now, we have been married for 16 years. Ryan tries to be better, but sometimes his words still cut into me like knives. Many nights, I lie awake thinking about my life. I ask myself why I forgave him so many times, why I stayed when I had so many reasons to leave. I am 33 years old now. I am not the same girl I used to be, the quiet child who was afraid of the world. I am stronger now. I have survived things I never thought I could survive. But sometimes, even strength feels heavy. Sometimes, I feel tired. And sometimes, I wonder what my life could have been if I had chosen differently. Sometimes I feel like I don't exist at all, like my life is invisible. Still, I want to believe in a better future. I want to find happiness, not only for myself, but also for my children. Every morning, I wake up early before the world fully opens its eyes. The first thing I do is look at my children. They are the reason I keep going when everything feels heavy. Lily is 8 years old now. She loves drawing and singing, just like I once did. Jake is 4 years old. He loves playing with toy cars and laughing loudly, his laughter filling the house with life. When I see them, I whisper to myself, be strong for them. I go to the kitchen and start my day. I cook breakfast, carefully preparing everything. I pack Lily's lunch for school, making sure she has what she needs. Jake stays at home with me, holding my hand and following me around the house. But some days are very hard. There are mornings when my body feels tired and my heart feels even heavier. I feel sad, lost, and confused. I often ask myself, how did my life become like this? One afternoon, something unexpected happened. My neighbor knocked on my door. Her name was Sarah. When I opened the door, she smiled warmly and said, "Hi, Emma. Do you want to come over for tea?" At first, I wanted to say no. I was scared Ryan would get angry if he found out. Fear was always sitting inside me, whispering warnings. But that day, I said yes. I felt a deep need to talk to someone, to feel human again. At Sarah's house, we sat together quietly at first. Then she looked at me gently and said, "You are not alone. I am here for you." Her words touched something deep inside me. Tears filled my eyes, and before I could stop myself, I started crying. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel completely alone. After listening to my story, Sarah gave me an idea. She said, Why don't you start working from home?" Her words stayed in my mind long after I returned home. I knew Ryan didn't want me to work outside, but maybe I could do something small, something safe. Slowly, I began to think about what I could do. I decided to start baking cakes and selling them. At first, it was very hard. I didn't know if I could really do it. I was scared of failing, scared of being judged, scared of hoping too much. But I worked hard every day. I practiced, improved, and poured my heart into every cake. Soon, people started liking my cakes. Orders began to come in, one after another. For the first time in many years, I felt proud of myself. I looked at my hands and thought, I can do this. One day, Ryan came home angry. His face was tense, his voice loud. "Why are you baking?" he shouted. "You don't need to work." My heart started beating fast, but this time I didn't stay silent. I looked at him and said calmly, "I need to do this, for me and for the kids. I will not stop." Ryan looked shocked. He didn't say anything after that. I was scared inside, but at the same time, I felt something new growing in me, strength. Life didn't change overnight. Ryan still gets angry sometimes. His temper didn't disappear. But I started setting boundaries. I looked at him one day and said firmly, "I will not allow you to hurt me anymore. If you hit me again, I will leave." At first, he didn't believe me. He thought I was just speaking words. But I didn't step back this time. I stayed strong because I knew I had to protect myself and my children. Slowly, my world began to expand again. I started meeting new people. Sarah introduced me to her friends, and they were kind and supportive. They listened to me without judgment, and their kindness felt unfamiliar but comforting. I also began doing small things I used to love. I cut my hair short again, just like before. I started wearing colorful clothes instead of hiding myself in dull colors. When I looked in the mirror, I felt like I was meeting an old version of myself after a long time. One day, Lily looked at me with bright eyes and said, Mom, you look so happy." Her words made me smile in a way I hadn't smiled for years. Now, I think more about what I really want. I want a safe and happy life for my children. I want to feel free. I don't know if Ryan will ever truly change, but I know one thing for sure: I have changed. I am not the same scared girl I used to be. Every day, I tell myself, one day, you will find peace. I don't know when that day will come, but I believe it will. Hope is the only thing I refuse to lose. If you are reading my story, I want you to know something from my heart. You are strong. You can survive hard times, no matter how dark they seem. Don't give up on yourself. I hope my story gives someone hope. And if you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share.